Hello everyone, Kasim Khan is here. Please subscribe my channel and press bell button for more updates. Thank you so much for watching my video. So guys, today we are going to learn a very important concept of business finance, that is annuity. So in this video, we will learn about what is annuity, what are the types of annuity, and how we can convert our cash flow streams into future value, into present value. So let's start and stay with me. What is annuity? An annuity represents a series of equal payments or receipts occurring over a specified number of equidistant periods. In the society there are two sectors. One is the lender and the other one is the borrower. Payments will be the for borrower and receipts for the lender. It can be also called the cash inflows. In the definition, we learn something we can identify here. One is that series of equal payments. So over the time period, payments should be equal. And if you are payment, let's suppose giving $100, so over the time period you will only pay $100. Your cash number, the amount will not change in annuity system. Second point is that over a specified number, so the time period will be defined, let's suppose for 5 years, 10 years, it should be defined on how much time period you will pay the interest payments or you will receive the interest payment. And the third one is the equidistant period. The distance between the period should be the same. Let's suppose if you are following the monthly payment system, the difference between the payment should be 30 days. Same like that, if you are following quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, the difference and the distance and the time period should be the same among the all payments. So we can also define here again a stream of equal periodic cash flows over a specified time period. These cash flows can be inflows of return earned on investment or outflows of the funds invested to earn future returns. So it can be any kind of payment. It can be payment, it can be receipts. But this one thing is very important, that is it should be equal periodic cash flows over a defined time period. So here are the types of annuity. The first one is ordinary annuity. Payments or receipts occur at the end of each period. In the ordinary annuity, your payment should be the end of the year. Let's suppose if we take an example, I am following the annual system, and my year starts from January 1 to 31st December. If I have to pay the annuity payment, so I will pay at December 31. In the ordinary annuity, the payment or the receipts occur at the end of period. What is annuity due? In annuity due, payments or receipts occur at the beginning of each period. This is the difference between both of them is just the timing of payment, the time at which you will pay the payment or receive the payment. In annuity, let's suppose we take an example. My investment plan starts right now, and today is January 1, and I am following the annual system, and it will time period end at 31st December. So I will pay a 2 day payment. On January 1, and in annuity due, you pay the payment at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of time period. So here are some example of annuities. The first one is a student loan payment. Most of the time students finance their education with the loan payments. So that loan payments are also because fixed, and the period is also defined. That are the best example of annuities. Same like as the car loan payments, insurance premium. Most of the time you minimize your risk by purchasing the insurance, and the insurance give you some kinds of on premium like life insurance premiums. That insurance premium also under the annuity system. Mortgage payments, you most of the time take a loan against your home, like home loan is also comes under the mortgage payments, and that is called the example of annuities. And the retirement savings, after your retirement you get fixed cash flow streams over the time period. That cash flow streams is fixed, and the for a specified time period. All are the best example of the annuity. So here is the graphical representation of the definition of annuity. The first one is ordinary annuity, and we can see here there is a time period that is 2 day. 2 day we represent in the table, that is with zero, and the total time period is 3 years. And one thing you can see here, that is you are paying the payment at the end of time period. So this is the end of time period 1, this is the end of the time period 2, and this is the end of the time period 3. So in ordinary annuity, you always pay the payment at the end of time period. The second thing you are observing, the amount is fixed all over the time period. You are only paying or receiving $100. Your payment number is not going to be changed. Your amount is not will not change in annuity system. So the third factor which I am observing is that the time difference is equal in all the time period. So your distance should be the equal. If you are following monthly system, your distance will be 30 days. If you are following the quarterly system, your time difference will be 90 days. If you are following semi-annual system, your time difference will be 6 months, and if you are following annual system, the time difference will be 12 months. So the distance between the time will be equal in always annuity system. So what is annuity due? Here is the one difference from the previous presentation, that is in an ordinary annuity we always receive the payment in end of the year, but in annuity due we are receiving the payment at the start of the year, at the start of the period. So this is the major difference between annuity due and the ordinary annuity. Payments are same, and the time difference should be also same, but the only difference is the timing of the payment. In this, the timing of the payment is in the start of the period, and ordinary annuity have a payment timing is the end of period. So here in the first section, we will learn about how we can find out the future value of our ordinary annuity and the annuity due. What is the formula, what is the equation, and the method to calculate the future value of our cash flow streams in ordinary annuity and the annuity due. Here is the case one in which we will find out about the future value of an ordinary annuity. So here is the general formula, that is FVN. FV is future value and is the time period, is equal to CF is my cash flows which I will pay over the time period, multiplied by 1 plus R. R is my return. You can also represent here I and R is similar. Any one of the like symbol you can use here. So key power n is my time period minus 1 divided by R. This is the general formula for the calculation of future value of an ordinary annuity. So here is also using table. We can also use the table to find out the future value of our ordinary annuity, and I will show you how we can find the value. So here is the future value. FV is equal to A is representing annuity, ordinary annuity, and is the time period. R is my return payments. FVIF, future value of annuity, ordinary annuity. I is my interest and is time period. So here is the example through which we can understand, and we can know about how we will calculate the future value of ordinary annuity. Fran Abrams wishes to determine how much money she will have at the end of 5 years if he chooses the ordinary annuity. So she wants to know about, if I choose the 5 years plan under the ordinary annuity, how much the total amount she will get after 5 years. It represents deposit of 1,000 annually at the end of each of the next 5 years into a saving account paying 7% annual interest. So some information we find here. The first one is, if she deposit 1,000 annually for the time period for the next 5 years at the 7% of annual interest. So how much she will get after the 5 years under the ordinary annuity investment plan. So here is the general formula. Here is the FV. We will just simply put the values in the formula, that is FV future value, because our time period is 5. So N is representing here 5 is equal to 1,000 is my present value, and my cash flows which I will deposit every year, multiply by 1 plus 0.07 is my interest rate which I will earn, which the lender depository institution will repay me on my deposit. So 0.07 is my return interest, and here is n5 minus 1 divided by 0.07. So after 5 years she will get the total amount, that is $5,750. So $5,750 she will get after 5 years. So over the time period, over the 5 year, annual deposit should be one. So in total amount she will deposit over the time period, that is 5,000. And so on the 5,000 investment, she will get $5,750, $5,750 as a return after 5 years. So we can also can find out the future value with the help of table. How we can find the value with the help of table? Here is FV future value is representing ordinary annuity. 5 is my time period, that is equal to 1000, and FVI and here is I interest is I my 7% and is 5 years. So how can I find the value from the table? Simply I will go in the Google Scholar, sorry, in Google, I will simply write down the future value of ordinary annuity table. So basically this is the future value of ordinary table, and from here I can find out the value. So on here are on the horizontal side there is the interest rate. You can also say that rate of return. And here is the I, and on the vertical side there is a time period. We can denote it with the N. So in my case, in my investment plan, my interest rate is 7%. That is here on this column, in this column, and my time period is 5. So what should be the my exact value in the table? That is 5.75. If you can see that that is 5, here is the 5, and 5.75 is the my exact value. This value is labbed in column 7%, and the row is 5. So I will simply copy this value 5.75, and I will simply put it into the equation 5.750. So I will multiply with the 1000, and what I get, that is $5,750. So the answer will be the same, because you can use any kind of technique. It's up to you, but the both technique will give you the same value. So with this method, with these kind of equations, we can find out the future value of the ordinary annuity of our investment plan. So here is also a graphical representation of the total return we are getting from our investment, that is 51. So here I give you a little bit explanation about this. If you observe that the deposit amount is same over the 5 year, that is $1,000, but every $1,000 is generating different revenue for your cash inflows. Why it is generating different cash inflows? The reason is that because you are getting this 1000 at the end of a year, like when your investment plan is near to mature, and your as you deposit it, your investment plan will be mature, so you are not earning the interest on your this deposit. So that's why this deposit only generates the same amount which you have been deposited. And if you see that in the fourth year you deposit for 1000, this 1000 generating the return, that is $70, and the total amount is $1070, because this amount has been used over the 1 year, and it is generating the revenue for you, that is $70, that is higher than the last payment. And if we see that in the third year payment is generating little bit higher revenue of the previous year, because this deposit cash flow stream has been utilized for the 2 years, so that's why you are earning the return. So the first 1000 is generating more revenue as comparative to all other 1000, that is 1311. Why this 1000 is generating more revenue? Because this 1000 cash stream has been utilized over a longer time period, so it is generating more interest payments for you, more interest return for you. That's why this the first payment you have been deposited is generating high return as comparative to the last payment you have been deposited in the last year. So here was a little bit illustration about how the cash flow and how the interest rate affect your cash returns over the time period. So in the second case, that is future value of an annuity due. In the first case, we learn about how we can find out the future value of how we can find the future value of ordinary annuity. Now we will learn how we can find the future value of annuity due. So here is the general formula. FV is equal FV is future value, and is the time period, that is equal to CF. CF is my cash flows multiplied by 1 plus r की power n minus 1 divided by r. This formula is similar to the previous formula which we learned, but the only one factor is adding here, that is we will multiply into 1 plus r. So this is the addition in the formula, and we can also use the table as well for the calculation of future value under the annuity due system. So R is equal to FV into AD की power n. FV is future value, AD is representing annuity due, and N is the time period, R is the my return, FV are future value of IFA, into I is my interest rate, N is my time period, into 1 plus I. So here is the again problem through which through this question we can understand very well. Fran Abrams wishes to determine how much money she will have at the end of 5 years if she chooses annuity due. Same question, same investment problem, but here is just she changing the like investment plan. Now she is going on the annuity due, so it represents deposits of 1,000 annually at the start of each of the next 5 years into a saving account paying 7 annual interest. So she wants to know, if I choose the annuity due investment plan, under this investment plan, how much I will get after 5 years on the same amount on the same investment plan. So we simply will put the values in the formula in the general equation, same like the previous problem. So FVN is equal to CF multiplied by 1 plus R की power n minus 1 divided by R multiplied by 1 plus R. So future value of this investment plan under the annuity due, that is $61.53, and using this table we can also find same like we will find the future value from the table of the annuity due. So 1000 multiplied by 5.75 multiplied by 1.07, so we are getting the similar amount, almost 61.52. Both amounts are the same, so you can find any, you can use any kind of method to find out the future value. Both are okay, but it's up to you. So now we compare in the next slide. We compare what is the difference between annuity due, which method is generating more future value, because the investment plan all the figures are same, but both methods are generating different value for you. So if we see, one thing you need to remember here, that is you always annuity due always generate more future value as comparative ordinary annuity. So your investment future value always be greater in annuity due as comparative ordinary annuity. So we can here see in same investment plan, ordinary annuity is generating $57.50, versus annuity due is generating $61.53. So this method, annuity due, generating the more return on the same investment plan as comparative to ordinary due. So here we will learn why this method is generating more revenue. What is the reason behind this? So because the cash flow of the annuity due occur at the beginning of the period rather than at the end, that is each payment comes 1 year sooner in the annuity due, it is future value is greater. So we find that main difference in both of these annuity system, that is the timing of cash flows, the timing of deposits, the timing of payments. So in annuity due, we deposit the payment in the start of year, and in ordinary annuity we deposit the payment at the end of year. So this, in this investment plan, your cash flows utilize more 1 year more as comparative to this method, and that's why this method always generate more cash flows, more future value as comparative to ordinary annuity. So in from here we can also learn how this value is bigger than this value, and how much we are generating more return from this. So we can here utilize the rate of return formula, that is P naught that is P1 minus P naught divided by P1. Here you can simply denote this way: R1 minus R naught divided by R naught. or not. So here is my 6153 minus 5750 divided by 5750, that is equal to 0.07. So I'm generating 7% more return under the annuity due. So I will, if you are interested to invest your money for the future, so you always go on the annuity due investment plan, because it will give you more future value as comparative to ordinary and just similar investment plan generating the more 7% more return under the annuity due. So it was all about how we can find out the future value under the ordinary and the annuity due investment plan. So in section 2, we will learn about the present value PV of ordinary annuity and annuity due. So in case 3, we will learn about the present value ordinary annuity. Case 3 is representing how we can find out our investment cash flow streams present value of ordinary investment plan. So here is the general formula for the calculation of PV. PV is present value, N is the time period, CF is your cash flow, R is your return, R is your interest multiplied by 1 minus 1 divided by 1 plus R ki power. And so if we can also use the table to find out the present value of our investment and under the ordinary annuity system. So if we see here PV is the present value. PV is your present value, A is your ordinary annuity, N is the time period, R is return, PV present value, IFA under I is interest, N is time period. So here is the problem through which we can learn more about the ordinary annuity and how we can find out the present value of annuity. So Bread and Company wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular ordinary annuity. The annuity consists of cash flows of 700 at the end of each year for 5 years. The firm requires the annuity to provide a minimum return of 8%. So some information we find here, that is Bread and Company have an investment plan, and under this investment plan, the Bread and Company will get 700 cash flows over the 5 years, and these cash flow give the return of 8%. So now Bread and Company wants to know how much they need to pay now to get these cash flow stream over the 5 years. So we want to know how much minimum amount we need to pay if we are interested to earn these cash flows over the 5 years at the rate of return is 8%. So here is the simple illustration, graphical illustration. So uh, if we see here, here is the 0 is my time period, 1 is my this is my first payment which I will get after 1 year at the end of year, because we are following the ordinary annuity. So that's why this payment will be at the end of year. This so the similar payments we will get after the end of 5 years. So if we convert this 700 into present value, so we will get 648. Here is the slides through which we can learn how we can convert the future value into present value. So future value formula is equal to PV is equal to FV divided by 1 plus I ki power n. So in first year your FV is 700, 1 plus I is 0.08%. So after first year your present value will be converted into 6408, and the second payment, if we convert this 700 into present value, that will be equal to 600, and so on, same like that. If we convert this 700 into present value into 2-day value, that will be 476.41. So if I am interested to buy this cash flow stream, this annuity plan, I need to minimum pay $2,794. So here is the graphical representation. We can see that this value is equal to 648, its present value equal to 599, and so on. This investment plan this year, this cash flow 700, present value is 476. So minimum we need to pay the $2795 if we are interested to purchase this cash flow stream over the next 5 years. But here I want to give you one finance concept here. The amount is same over the 5 year, but this is converting into 648, but this 700 is converting into 476. Why this is very low and this is high, but the amount, but the figure, but the numerical value is same, but it is when we convert into the present value, this 700 just giving you 476 and this is giving to 648. Here is the concept of time value of money. You know, there is inflation in the society, and over the time period your value has been decreasing, decrease. So this because this 700 is your more near to your present value, so this 700 just lose over the time period, that is 52 roundabout, and this 700 will lose too much over the time period because time value of money consider the time, and in this year there is a high time, the time is longer, so this will lose more value, and the present value of this 700 is $476. So as the time period will increasing, your time value of money concept apply more, and your present value will less when you increase the time period. So here is also time value of money concept affecting. So the total, if you are interested to buy these cash flows in the future, you need to pay $2,795 in the present value. So in the forecast, we will learn about how we can find out the present value annuity due case, how we can find the present value of annuity due. So this is our forecast. So the general formula to calculate the present value of annuity due, that is PVN into CF divided by R multiplied by 1 minus 1 divided by 1 plus R multiplied by 1 plus R. This is the similar formula to the previous formula. Simply we add 1 plus R here. The other remaining equation is same. So and the same as like in the future value, we just add 1 plus R. In the present value, we also add the 1 plus R. So we can also use the table that is PVAD, present value of AD, annuity due, and is your time period. So PVIF, I is your interest and is your time period. One is 1 plus I is interest. You will simply find out the present value, and you will put the figure in the table. So Bread and Company, to a small producer of plastic tire, wants to determine the most it should pay to purchase a particular annuity due, how much the company need to pay if the company is interested to like interested to get the cash flow, that is 700 over the 5 years at the minimum interest rate of 8%. So the same is the question is same, and the investment plan is the same, just there is a difference between is that is annuity due. So how much we need to pay in the annuity due? So after calculation, we get ordinary annuity. The present value under the ordinary annuity is 2794, and the present value under the annuity due, that is 3018. So one thing you need to remember, one thing you need to clear here, that is the present value of annuity due is always greater than the ordinary annuity, same like as the future value. So I am repeating again, that is the present value of annuity due is always greater than the present value of ordinary annuity. What is the reason behind this? The reason behind is this: because in annuity due we deposit the cash in the start of time period. In ordinary annuity we deposit the cash at the end of period. So that's why this value generates more of, because this in this cash flow stream your cash are more closer to your present time period. So that's why this value is greater than to the ordinary annuity. So we can also find here with the rate of return how much this is generating your more return in annuity due. So if we see that same like as 8% have a we will find that the annuity due is a 8% more valuable than the annuity due. So in this way, you can, with this help of formula, you can also find that which one is more valuable and how much that is more valuable. You can also find the value in the percentage as well. So here are the some certain steps which you need to identify, which you need to follow whenever you are calculating the annuity system investment cash flow streams of your investment. First, you need to understand the read problem thoroughly. You first need to understand what is the exact problem. After that, you need to identify and determine is your problem is based on present value or future value. After identification of this, you need to create a timeline. You need to allocate your cash flow streams on the timeline. So after that, in the fourth step, you need to put the cash flows and the arrows on the timeline. So you need to write down your cash flows figure, and you need to allocate the arrows as well. So in the fifth step, you need to determine if a solution involves a single CF annuity stream or mixed cash flow. You also need to understand what kind of the system is. Either it is single cash flow system, it is annuity streams or mixed flow. We need to identify in our problem. So in the sixth step, you need to solve the problem, and in the last one, you can also use the financial calculator as well for the calculation of annuity. So it was all about the annuity. In this, we learned about what is the annuity, what are the types of annuity, and how we can calculate the present value and the future value of our cash flow stream under the different annuity investment plan. So guys, thank you so much for staying with me. Thank you so much for watching my video. Stay happy, stay blessed, and take care.